Good morning, everyone. Well, today is the big day. It is the premiere of a brand new show on my late stream. But before we get there, we've got a lot to talk about. In fact, I wasn't here yesterday for a podcast, and in that time frame, a tremendous amount of game news has occurred. So on today's show, we will be covering a wide variety of news stories relating to Xbox, Bethesda, Naughty Dog, the Game Awards, GOG and game preservation, Avowed, and more. Tons of stuff to talk about on the podcast. Of course, I'll also be giving you a minor update on everything else going on around here, what I did yesterday, etc. It should be a good show. And of course, this is all leading up to the premiere of my brand new show on politics. We'll talk about this on today's episode of the Level 1 Podcast. Alrighty, everyone. Good morning and welcome to the show. It is Thursday, the 14th of November, 2024. The fifth in a day of 6 straight streaming days for me. Although not every day was a full day. Yesterday, I had the daytime stream off. We'll talk a little bit about that on the show today because I'm sure you guys are interested in what went down, why I wasn't here. Things didn't exactly go according to plan. Let's put it that way. But what else is new in my life, right? The day that something goes smoothly must be like the day that the planets aligned and, you know, some kind of rare dimensional occurrence happened. Because usually things that are just tiny little menial tasks, normal things for most people, have to be giant ordeals for me because everything always goes wrong. We'll talk a little bit about that. It's like the Murphy's Law, right? If anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. Anyway, I'm definitely excited for today. For various different reasons. You know, number one, full streaming day today. It's a nice, cool autumn day. I actually have a fan in the office now, a ceiling fan, which is awesome. I picked a really good one for this office. I really love it. We'll talk about that today. And we've got a ton of gaming news to discuss today. It's crazy how much happens in like a 24-hour period, especially when you're not around to talk about it. And so today we're going to play catch up with a whole bunch of stories. I expect this is probably going to take up like the meat of the show. So I hope you're ready for some game news today on the Level 1 Podcast. But what we'll do is let's talk about yesterday, what went down, why I wasn't here, what went wrong, how this is going to affect the schedule next week. In addition to that, we'll talk about some Bloodborne action and then the schedule for the rest of the week. And then we will jump into this game news. Okay, so you ready? Your body is ready? All right, I'm glad. Someone just said my body is ready in the chat. I'm glad. Nice meme. So here's the deal. Yesterday, I wasn't here during the daytime stream. And you wonder, well, why? Well, as you know, I've been talking about this a lot recently. This year's been really good for me. These last 3 months of August, September, and October, you guys have been absolutely amazingly supportive. Seriously. I'm so happy that things have turned around and for the better. I'm able to do things now in my life with more flexibility because, you know, things are better around here. You notice that day to day, I'm not like, oh, I can't afford a game or I can't do this or that. In fact, it's the opposite. I'm talking about upgrading the setup and doing other things for myself and my family. You know, notably, I just had an extra day off last week that I spent with my wife, and it was a really nice day where we went out and had a lot of fun, okay? So what was I up to yesterday? Well, I've been talking about this over the past couple of months that we really could use a few ceiling fans in the house. This house has no ceiling fans. It's odd because the house also has no central air. So when they built the house, I guess they never thought that air would need to move through it. Pretty bizarre. Notably, these last few years, we've had some really hot summers. And because of that, I wanted to get some ceiling fans in various rooms of the house. And the thing that really kind of spearheaded this effort is that in end of last month, was it? Basically, we had a really ugly lamp over our dining room table. It was a lamp that's like a giant half bowl of glass. It kind of looked like the top half of a flying saucer, but it was heavy ass transparent glass. My wife and I never liked it. Okay, we always knew like we gotta get rid of this someday, but it's like it works, so there's no real reason to care so much about it. So one day last month, she's cleaning it, which just means she's standing on like a step stool and she's just wiping the glass with some cleaner. The entire thing rips out of the ceiling and drops like 8 inches. Then it yanks on the wires and all the power goes out to it. And we're like, well, crap. Obviously, we got a problem now. We have no light in the dining room. And we started talking about what we wanted to do. And I was like, well, we can actually like afford now to have like an electrician come and put something in new. But the question is, what do we want to do? Do we want recessed lighting in the ceiling? Do we want a lamp? Do we want a fan? We talked about it. And after talking about it for a little bit, we decided, hey, let's do a ceiling fan because we actually have no air circulation at all on the bottom floor outside of the vents, which just blows some air around the house, but it doesn't really like circulate nicely in any particular room. At the same time, in this office, I've never had air circulation. There's nothing. It's like a dead room where there's no way to get air to move through it, especially on days when I'm streaming and my wife is home and I have to have the door closed. This room gets stagnant and the air gets very stuffy with all these electronics running. And I always wanted to have like a ceiling fan in here. I had a really crappy lamp that was here from when I moved in 10 years ago that never even worked. It had 3 little bulbs and 2 of them never worked. I was always using 1 bulb in this lamp and it didn't really do much for the lighting in the office. So over the course of the last, month and a half, my wife did some shopping and improvements. We had a washer dryer installed. And at the same time, we actually bought a couple of ceiling fans, one for this office and one for downstairs for the dining room. And finally, we had scheduled for an electrician to come to the house, check out the wiring, and install these ceiling fans. So this is what was supposed to happen yesterday afternoon. And we're thinking, it's 2 ceiling fans. This will not be a big deal. Maybe he'll be here an hour, maybe 2 tops if there's like an issue. But there's no way this should be any kind of a big deal, right? Yeah, right. Because again, like I've said, when it comes to me, Jasper, you want to go in the closet? Yeah. When it comes to me, it can't just be things go normally, things go smoothly. Instead, it's got to be the most ridiculous, extenuating circumstance possible. So the electrician showed up around noon, which is perfect. I'm like, oh, it'll be for like an hour or 2. I'll have some extra time. I'd even said, hey, I could do some things. I could maybe keep cleaning out the garage. We got a bunch of trash and stuff there. I could clean out, maybe take a second trip to the dump, and, and throw out more. Maybe I could put up a new shelf in the bathroom because we actually had bought a new shelving system for our bathroom that I need time to install, and I just haven't had time. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll do some of those things. This will be good, right? So the electrician shows up at noon and starts basically, assessing the situation in the dining room. He's like, well, it doesn't look like the wiring's too damaged. It looks like one of the wires did pull here. I could snip it here. He removed the remaining parts of the broken lamp that were still attached. And basically did a bunch of work. He said, okay, yeah, we should be good. Begins work, okay? And I'm just, I can't leave him in the house alone or anything. So I'm stuck in the house just kind of waiting around. So I'm just kind of relaxing on the couch, Jasper, just so everyone knows, Jasper is deathly afraid of other humans. Seriously. Jasper's my pet cat, by the way, who just went into the closet. He cannot stand other humans. He gets so afraid that he runs and cowers and hides whenever there's other humans in this house. So in this particular case, my wife said, I'll stay with Jasper in the bedroom with the door closed. That way he won't be afraid. I'll stay with him. I'll pet him. He actually gets like almost like panicky, So she stayed in the bedroom with him, trying to basically console him. And we're thinking, no big deal. It'll be an hour or 2, right? So after about an hour and a half, seriously, the guy finally, he says to me, we got big problems. Like, what's the problem? He goes, so here's what happened. Basically, the wiring is old. My house is built in the 1990s. Of course, nothing's ever been done with the wiring since then. And it looked like something was wrong with the switch. So he had to replace the switch in the wall, first of all. Like, the old switch wasn't working properly with the fan at all. Like, he was flipping it on and off. The fan wasn't even turning on and off. The light, the fan, nothing. No power to it. So the whole thing had to be replaced, which is not a big deal. It's just the switch, not a huge deal. So, but then he had to clean up a mess. I guess what happened was the box up in the ceiling was incredibly old. and wouldn't even really support a fan, so he had to upgrade it. So he did all this work, right? And he goes, so I want to show you exactly what's going on because I want you to understand, you know, I did everything I could. So the fan is assembled and everything, but he didn't put the blades on yet because he wants to show me. He says, so here's the light. Turns it on, the light works. And he's like, I can adjust it. The light seems to work fine. He goes, but no matter what I do, I can't get the fan to work right. Let me show you. And he presses on. And the fan still goes, it's like a car that you're trying to start and it just keeps stalling out. That's what this motor is doing. And he goes, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it has something to do with the wiring, that when I first hooked it up, it got shocked. I don't know, you know, it had something to do with the switch. I don't know if the fan's just defective. Like, I have no clue. But it doesn't work. Because I did everything. Like, I've done everything possible. And the fact that the light is working, but the fan doesn't, is weird. He goes, if the thing was messed up, the light wouldn't be working either. So it makes no sense that this motor's starting and stopping. I don't get it. He goes, the only thing I can say is, it looks like your fan's defective. So you got to return it and get another one. And then I'll come back free of charge this time. And I will install the fan properly like it was supposed to happen because you didn't get your fan today. And he actually did me a solid. He says, I don't want to leave you with no light. So he actually just installed an incredibly basic light bulb screw thing. So I could at least have a light bulb on my ceiling for now. To have a light there. He goes, that's fine. This is just temporary. You know, when I come back, we'll put in the fan and it'll replace this, but I didn't want to leave you with nothing. Then he goes, just to show you that I'm not, you know, inept at my job, let me go ahead and let me do this. Right? Harley, he had a voltmeter. He tested it and said there was nothing wrong, but he couldn't figure out why the motor wasn't working. So please stop. I love it. These fucking, every time I tell a story, these armchair quarterback fucking idiots on the internet. Well, if he was a good electrician, he would have had his voltmeter and he would have been testing all the wires and he would have been, he did, stupid. Can you shut up and just listen to the story and stop acting like you know better than everyone else? These people on the internet, I swear to God, are fucking stupid. Oh my God. Okay. Now, he says, just to show you that I know what I'm doing, let's do the fan upstairs. And he came up here, and in less than a half an hour, he had my ceiling fan installed in this office. No problem whatsoever. He said, yeah, Harley, just fuck off, okay? Get the fuck out of my chat, you fucking idiot. Okay. So, he says, this switch is normal. Didn't seem to have any problems with it. Everything's working fine, right? No problems at all. Fan installs easily. He goes, this is great. He goes, this is the kind of fan I like. Didn't give us any problems. Smooth work and everything. So now I have this nice ceiling fan where I have a light. Not that I'm ever going to use this when I'm on stream, because as you can see, it's not going to record well. I have a ring light for when I'm on stream, and that's what I'm going to use. But I have a ceiling light. It dims and gets brighter. Like, it has all these dimming settings, which is nice. I've got a 3-speed fan that circulates the air very nicely. I've got it on high right now, and it's really moving the air around nicely in the room. And pretty good stuff. So I'm very pleased with the ceiling fan. It looks great. It's all black, and it matches kind of the motif of the room. I have black blackout curtains, and I have a black ceiling fan. It's good. It's fitting everything. So I'm like, oh, this is a great deal. So I'm happy with that. But now here's the bummer, and sadly, this is going to affect streams and the like. So now I have to take the defective fan back to the store over the weekend on my day off. Instead of relaxing with my wife, I have to drive across town because I checked and the closest store doesn't have it in stock. So I have to drive across to the further store, physically return it, and try to exchange it for the same fan. Then I have to contact the company again to try to have them come out. The guy basically said he wanted to come out like same day. So if he could come out like Wednesday of this coming week, same time, same day, it would be perfect. I said, all right, so let's tentatively schedule it for then, and I'll see if I can get the fan. Hopefully I can get the fan, and then we can have you come out and do it again. And hopefully this time it'll be fast, and it'll basically be what should have been yesterday, where he does the fan quick, and then I have some extra time. Like I said, maybe I can go to the dump, or maybe I can, put up a shelf, or maybe I can do both. Who knows? But it just sucked because I literally sat around 4 hours yesterday. It was basically like 2 to 2.5 hours for the downstairs fan. Then about a half an hour for this fan. And then, of course, cleaning up and paying and everything. So he's here for almost 4 hours. It was my entire afternoon that I would have been streaming was shot on these fans, and I only got one out of the two. So next week, again, I have to take a day stream off in order to do this. You know what really sucks? Here's what really sucks. My wife and I wanted to take extra days off together. You know, that was the intention, is that we're going to have extra days off to spend time together, not me sit around all fucking day with a guy putting a fan in. So now we were supposed to have another day off together next week, and we can't because I have to take this stream off to do the fan shit, and it screws our time up. And of course, the week after that is Thanksgiving. We probably can't take a day off then. It's like, ugh. Very frustrating. It is. It's really frustrating, guys. So my apologies for venting a little bit. No, I didn't. Someone just says, if he was there, here we go. Another armchair. You know what? Fuck this person, too. Another armchair quarterback idiot. If he was there for 4 hours, you had time to go to the store and exchange the fan. The store's a half an hour away. The guy's in my house doing work. I'm not going to leave the house for a half an hour one way, exchange the fan, drive back. So I'm going to be gone for like an hour or more while this guy's in my fucking house? Get the fuck out of my chat and get banned, you stupid bitch. These fucking people, I swear to God. Who's next? Who's next to be an asshole in my chat and get your ass kicked out? What a fucking moron. Trust me, I thought about it. If it was closer by, I was going to do it. But the closer store didn't have it. There's a store that I could have gone to that was like 10 minutes away. No, it has to be the one that's like a half an hour away is the one that has it in stock. So anyway, it sucks. It was a shitty afternoon. I really wish that it was a better afternoon and everything had gone smoothly, but no, of course not, right? And now, of course, this affects the streams next week. It means that I can't do a day stream, likely on Wednesday. You know, I haven't 100% scheduled and confirmed it yet with these guys. So I have to talk with them again to schedule it. It looks like it'll probably again be Wednesday of next week that I can't stream. On the day stream, it is what it is, okay? So, stupid shit, but, you know, again, if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. So, I have to get the defective one, and I got to deal with it, right? So, thank you for everyone understanding that I couldn't be here yesterday. I sure would like to take another day off to spend with my wife, but at this point, it ain't looking good. You know, now Saturday, I got to go across town to this store to exchange the fan. I got to get some pet supplies. I got to go grocery shopping. So there we go. There's my day off, right? Won't get to spend time with my wife again. I'll be out and about all day long. But that's life, I guess, right? So that was yesterday during the day. The good news is last night we had a great stream of Bloodborne. Basically, continuing on from Father Gascoigne, we went to the Cathedral Ward and cleared it out. Went to Old Yarnum, cleared it out. Had a really epic, silly moment where I climbed that tower where that NPC hunter is. And usually this is a pretty hard fight for most people because at this point in the game, that NPC hunter is pretty over-leveled and has a ton of health. The NPC hunter slipped and killed himself. And I made a cool highlight of it that no one watched. My highlight videos have been doing well recently, including, you know, my early thoughts on the PS5 Pro, Dragon Age Veilguard, you know, highlights about various different topics, like my detractors and stuff. This particular video, for some reason, no one watched it. I don't know why. Like, it doesn't even have 300 views yet. And I posted it at like 12:30 at night, so almost 12 hours ago. I don't know what happened. But the Bloodborne stream was great. Great attendance, great support, great progress. And the game, I can definitely tell now, the game looks better than the original. Essentially, what's happened is all the environmental stuff has more detail now. The walls, the bricks in a wall now has like really etched in detail that you can notice and stuff like that. It's certainly nothing game changing, but it definitely makes the game look more spiffy, right? Like a little bit more high end than it originally was. But it's still a great game. I'm having a great time with it. I really liking the fact that now I'm learning the transforming weapon stuff. Like I'm transforming it during combos and things, which I never did before in the previous runs. So it's like every run I do something a little different. First run, I had no idea what I was doing, and I brute forced my way through. Second run, I learned parrying, and now I'm combining parrying with transforming weapons, so a little improvement every single one, right? But it's been great, and I can't wait for more. However, I'm not going to be doing any more until next week. Reason being, I got the next couple days booked, some exciting stuff coming up. I am actually going to do, a day stream of it. I'm going to actually make Bloodborne a daytime stream. People have been requesting this. You know, my mentality is Bloodborne should be a night stream because it's a game I've already played twice, right? This is kind of more like a, you know, not necessarily a chill stream because there's no chill when I'm playing Bloodborne. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a super serious deal because I've already played it multiple times. But, Anyway, if people have said we want it as a day stream, I'll give it to you as a day stream. All right. And of course, we did hit the goal for support. So thank you to everyone last night. It was a great stream. Now, before we continue, I want to take a quick look here. Yeah, we got a troll, so I'm just going to ignore the troll. Okay. Cool. That's what I thought. That's why I wanted to ignore it. Okay. So, guys, today, a double stream day. We're at 64. If we hit 67, meaning today's 2 streams and then tomorrow's daytime stream, we do a celebratory episode of DSP Tries It. This is a really good one this week. It is the Decades menu at Taco Bell, including the tostada, the green, I think they call it the green sauce burrito or something like that, which is weird. Why not just call it the green salsa burrito? It sounds weird. The Mexamelt and the Gordita Supreme. So we're going to try that whole menu live together tomorrow on stream once we hit the goal. All right, so let's keep that momentum going. Please support the stream if you can. How can you support the stream? There's so many ways. If you're on the YouTube side of things today watching, you can do a super chat or a super sticker, or you could become a member of the channel yourself, or you can give some memberships to the community. If you're on the Kick side of stuff, you could become a sub and join the Founders Club. The Founders Club is a group of people who are the first 100 paid subs. At this point, I think we have 55 or 56. So there's still about 40 spots left to become part of the Founders Club and earn that badge that shows the number 1. I know that many of you have gotten gifted memberships and they're now expiring because now is my 1-month anniversary of streaming on Kick. So a lot of those initial gifted memberships or gifted subs are expiring. So you could become a sub yourself legit and earn that Founders Club badge now. Or you could give some subs over on Kick. Remember, if you give 25 subs or more, you join the VIP club, which means you get another exclusive badge that only the first 100 people who do that can ever earn. And then, of course, lastly, you could tip. And tipping works for everyone because it's through PayPal. It's not through YouTube. It's not through Kick. So if you don't like YouTube or Kick and you're like, man, I want to support Phil, but forget those businesses, you could tip me through PayPal. And you could do that by checking the description of either stream. Has a link to it. You can type !tip into the chat if you're on the YouTube side, or you can check the About tab on the page if you're on the Kick side. All that information is there, all right? So please consider contributing in some way. Let's get that momentum going this morning. So far, we've got no contributions whatsoever, but the morning is young. Please, let's get our first contributions in, and let's get the momentum going, okay? All right, so what is the schedule for the week? Well, today, this first stream, we're going to continue on with Dragon Age Veilguard. I had set 2 streams this week up to play Dragon Age Veilguard and see if I like it and see if you guys like it, okay? The first stream we did the other day, I would say it was pretty introductory. We're still learning basics of combat, and we're still unlocking, new stuff with our teammates and things. That's kind of early game stuff. I'm really not necessarily sold on the game yet. At the same time, I'm not bored. I'm kind of like interested, but it's kind of like, okay, it's not amazing, but it's not bad. It's kind of middle of the road for me. So that's why I want to continue on today with the playthrough and see how it goes. Now, if by the end of today's stream, we're all bored to tears, I don't have to keep playing it. Being honest, it was gifted to me by the same viewer who gifted me the PS5 Pro, and they're aware that I did not commit to playing the whole game, but I would give it a shot. So after today, we'll be 7 hours in, and I think what we should do is assess what we think of the game after 7 hours and decide if this is something that we want to keep playing as a playthrough, or if we want to dump it and do something else. We got Slitterhead that came out last week that we didn't play yet. We've got other games we can go back to that we've kind of had on hold. There's a lot of options right now. Seriously, a ton of options. So anyway, so that's today. And then tonight on the late stream, 7 p.m. Pacific time, my first ever episode of DS Politics. So, DS Politics will be streamed exclusively on Kick, on the DSPGaming Real channel, okay? My first ever Kick exclusive stream. Every stream that I've done has been co-streamed over the last month. This is the first time I have a show specifically designed only for Kick. So hopefully, this will do 2 things. Number 1, this will drive some viewership to my Kick channel, because as you know, this last month, I've always streamed Split. And because of that, all right, because I split the stream, what's happened is the viewership hasn't been great on Kick. At first, for the first few days, you got a couple hundred viewers. And after that, a lot of people gravitated right back to YouTube and said, I just want to watch Phil on YouTube, which is fine. I'm not sad or upset that people want to watch me on YouTube. That's where I've been for many, many years. And as I told you guys when I started co-streaming, there was no way I was going to abandon my viewer base to stream on Kick and YouTube. I was going to basically co-stream. But, man, it sure would help to start driving up viewership on Kick. Right now, I think my average views are only something around like 40 or something like that, like average viewers. It's like 40 something. And that's because, as you can see, when I stream on Kick, I only get between 30 to 50 viewers. Most people have stayed on YouTube for whatever reason. Now, I do have some viewers on Kick that are there just for Kick, and I appreciate that. I really do. So I want to say thank you to everyone who has been a Kick viewer over the last month. This is finally time for the Kick viewers to get something exclusive. I feel like some of the YouTube viewers are going to come over to Kick to watch. I also feel like some people won't want to make a Kick account, but are going to watch anonymously, right? And that's probably going to happen too. Just so you know, even if you don't want to watch on Kick because you don't like Kick or whatever, you could still be a part of the show. Like some people were like, well, how will we talk to Phil if we're not in the Kick chat? Well, you could tip. If you tip me, I can still get a message that I can respond to during the show. So if you're watching on Kick and you want to support the show, you could become a sub or you can give subs to the channel. Or if you want to contribute and you're not watching on Kick, you could tip and you could still be a part of the interactive show. Okay, just be sure to leave a message with your tip, obviously, for me to read out on said show. Okay, we have a few shout outs to do. First of all, Toasty Chestnuts Real did became a sub over on Kick and said, I'm subbing for DS Politics, let's go. Well, thank you so very much. I appreciate that. I'm curious, again, how many people will actually like show up and support. Wow, my page is glitched again. And support DS Politics. I hope a good amount. I hope that we get, I mean, I'll be honest, what's my goal? We can get like 200 viewers on Kick. I think that would be great. And you might say, well, that doesn't sound like a lot. Yeah, but it's also my first ever Kick stream. So I'm expecting that it's going to be a growth process where at first we'll get a few and then we'll get more and then we'll get more as the show grows and people like it. So, yeah, hopefully people will show up tonight. And thank you so much. That was Toasty Chestnuts. Thank you, Toasty Chestnuts. Now, Perry the White also just gifted 3 subs over on Kick. So thank you so much to Perry the White. I appreciate that very much. What I did is I clicked this. I should have clicked this. This is the animation for a true new sub. Why? I have no idea. I found this animation randomly in my animations, and I was like, oh, I've never used this before. So thank you to Toasty Chestnuts. I appreciate you. Thank you for becoming a sub, and thank you to Perry the White for the 3 gifted subs. Let's get Perry the White up on the leaderboard. And between those 2 contributions, that's about 20 bucks of support so far today. So thank you guys very much for that. I have no idea why that crab is even in one of my animations. I don't remember. I know I never used it before. So there you go. Okay. Also, hold on. I have received a generous $30 tip from an anonymous tipper saying donating to feed the hungry in the kingdom of Philomania today. Thank you so very much to an anonymous $30 tipper. Very generous tip there. Let's get you a nice animation. Thank you very, very much. So, that means we are now up to 50 bucks in contributions so far this morning. Thank you, thank you. All right. Cool, cool. All right, so that crab was a meme 5 years ago. I remember seeing it, but I don't remember what it's from. How do you get the founder's badge to show up? You must go to the identity area. I think it has something to do with like that little gear at the bottom of the chat. You click on it, it has something to do with identity, and then you can check the badges that you want next to your name, and the founder's badge should be there. It should show a number 1 to show that you're a founder of the channel. So thank you so much, Toasty Chestnuts. So, tonight, on DS Politics, 7 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to cover 3 important topics. Number 1, a mean text message that seems tied directly to the results of the recent presidential election here in the U.S. that's being sent to people and mainstream media is covering it. Number two, the actual analysis and reasoning behind why the Democrats lost the 2024 presidential election. And then lastly, here locally where I live, they're doing food drives for Thanksgiving. But the local news has been running stories saying that if you're going to participate in the food drive, you need to purchase heart-healthy foods and culturally appropriate cuisine. We will talk about this tonight on the show. Trust me, this is going to be 3 interesting topics that will be discussed on tonight's show. Okay, so hopefully you will join me tonight, 7 p.m. Pacific time, and hopefully you guys will support the stream. If it does well, obviously that motivates me to keep the show going. Now, what's going to happen is people are going to have input on the show moving forward. People who are actually submissions tier members on my DSP Reacts channel will be able to submit articles, videos, and topics for me to cover each week on the show that they find interesting or appropriate. You know, the bottom line is I can't follow all the news across the country, so people will be able to submit like local news stories and things like that for me to look at and address and pick out that might be good for the show. And of course, I'll be following the bigger issue stuff like what Trump's up to and stuff like that. So it should be great every week on DSP Politics, or I should say on DS Politics. Okay, so let's have a great first show tonight. I hope you'll all join me over on Kick. What I'll be doing is actually making clips from the show, and the clips will be then uploaded to DSP Reacts, so there's going to be highlight videos over the course of the week of the show. Yes, the idea is that it's going to be a weekly show. However, it's highly dependent on how it goes. If the show goes well, and a lot of people like the idea, then we'll do it weekly. The show doesn't do so well, or maybe people aren't really submitting topics and it's a little harder to put stuff together, then maybe I'll do it bi-weekly. We'll see. But I'm very excited. Tonight's basically the pilot episode, and I'm excited to see what happens. So I hope you'll join me for that. Okay? All right. Little PP Energy says, what about his cabinet picks? That's what everyone's talking about. It is interesting news. However, for this week, I just want to cover more generalized and topics for, you know, kind of broader range stuff, and then we can get to more specific stuff probably next time, because I agree these are interesting stories about who he's picking for his cabinet, but he's not even done yet, right? So maybe we wait till the cabinet's selected, then we can talk about each pick. So there you go. Okay, so good stuff tonight. Tomorrow we're back to a full day of gaming. The first stream tomorrow will be the conclusion of Life is Strange Double Exposure. I can't wait to see how it ends. The game has not been bad, except for a certain half hour where they decided to absolutely shove progressive themes of love and smash or pass all of your friends and teachers, which was absolutely fucking bizarre. It was just a weird segment, but outside of that segment, the rest of the game, the story's been interesting. I'm very excited to see how it ends with the you know, this mystery, you know, murder and intrigue and dimensional shape, you know, jumping and shape shifting and all kinds of shit is going on. So I can't wait to see how that ends tomorrow. Tomorrow night, the late stream is the return of Friday Night Fights, where on the late stream I'll be playing fighting games. And I'm currently undecided if I should play Marvel vs. Capcom 2 or Street Fighter 6. Honestly, I think either would work because I haven't played fighting games in a while. Quite frankly, I don't think anyone really has a specific preference. Reason being, a poll was posted on my channel a few days ago, and it's almost right down the middle. I think it's like 52, 53% for Street Fighter 6 and like 46, 47% for Marvel 2. So it's negligible. It doesn't really matter. So I hope that you guys will join me for that tomorrow night. I'm off from streaming on Saturday. Okay. Then next week, there's no React content, meaning I am here for full days of gameplay pretty much all week long. We're going to have a major stream of Bloodborne one of those days, which will be exciting. Also, keep in mind, next week on Tuesday, Microsoft Flight Simulator releases. Yes, I will be playing it. I will be putting it into the rotation. I'm excited for it. It's a very chill game that we played years ago on the Xbox Series X. Now being able to play the new one on my gaming PC, it's going to look amazing. I cannot wait. It's going to be a great time. So good times ahead coming up, all right? One final thing. Warzone. I had no idea, but apparently Warzone is releasing or has released today in Call of Duty Black Ops 6. It's weird because the game didn't fucking mention it, and I've been playing it every day, and not once did it pop up and say, hey, Warzone's releasing, and no one even said anything to me about it. And all of a sudden, last night, people were like, oh, so you're playing Warzone tomorrow, right? And I was like, no. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, You know, this is weird. I had no clue. So what I need to do, I want to play Warzone for sure, but I need to see perhaps if there's a way that I can maybe team up with some people to do it. But probably not in the short term, I'm thinking. So I will likely in the next week be playing Warzone. Okay? And that should be good. So thank you guys for everything. It's been a great streaming week. Today's going to be a great day. And let's see how it goes. I'm really curious how DS Politics will go. I'm hoping for the best. People have asked me to branch out and do this kind of content for many years. Finally doing what you want. And I'm curious how it will go. I hopefully people will show up and engage and support, and we're going to have a nice interactive, fun political show tonight. At the same time, it could be a dud. It could be that no one actually gives a shit, and it was just a bunch of people who are all being, you know, loud, but actually don't give a crap. I don't know. Okay. Cool. All right, so we got through the schedule, folks. I think we should get into these news stories because I have like a million news stories to cover today. Okay? What's up, Game Boy? How you doing today? All right. Are we good? Shall we begin with the news segment, which is going to be lengthy today? Watch out, I am anti-pot. I am? I wasn't aware that I'm anti-pot. That's interesting. That's a new one. My stance on weed is as follows. If you want to smoke weed, and you want to do it safely, in the confines of your own home, legally, and you're doing it responsibly, more power to you. Same thing with drinking. Go ahead and drink. Same thing with anything. You know, have fun with what do they call it? Recreational substance or whatever. As long as you're doing it responsibly, enjoy. What business is it of mine if you like pot or not? Why would I care? No, of course, where it carries over to the realm of me caring is these idiots who are literally doing it, smoking outside, publicly, driving, doing things they're not supposed to be doing when you're influenced by this substance. You know, that's fucked up. Now you're putting yourself and others at risk because you want to be high all day, and that I don't support. You know, same thing with drinking. You're not supposed to drink and drive, so why are they smoke and drive? It fucking pisses me off. I talked about this a couple of years ago. My wife and I were in downtown of our local city where we live. There's a guy who was so high, and you know it probably wasn't pot or just exclusively pot. This guy was on some hard shit, right? He's walking down the street, and he looks like a normal guy. He doesn't look like a hobo or anything. He's like a normal person. He's dressed up fine. He is so high, he can't walk straight. He's scurrying like barely, like it looks like he's about to fall over. And there was a public trash can, a big one with a big open round metal top. The guy fell into the trash can face first, and his feet were dangling out of the top of the trash can. We were both we were like staring in the car at this guy. We're like, what the fuck? He just flipped right in. He was so high, he just flipped right into the can. And everyone around was just looking at it like, that's what I mean. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, that's drug abuse that should not be tolerated. This guy is a harm to himself and everyone around him. He's so fucking high. But if you want to sit at home and smoke some weed, I don't give a shit. Do it. More power to you. I don't care. Based? Oh, yeah. Oh, he's real based. Basically, he was saying, I'm human garbage, and he threw himself out. Based, I guess. Yeah. Real based. Oh, my Lord. Anyway, all right. So let's get to the news stories for today, shall we? All right. Okay. Let's do this. Pretty good amount of news today. So here we are. Our first story for today is a good news story. It's about game preservation and posterity. And I like hearing stories about this because sadly, as we all know, as games are getting older, a lot of games that we grew up with are becoming way harder to access and play. For example, right now, I could probably name 5 to 10 games that I loved from back in the, PlayStation 1 era, but they're just not available to play right now unless, number one, you're emulating them, or number two, you have some kind of crazy retro game collection that costs thousands of dollars, isn't easy to maintain and play anymore on modern equipment. You know what I'm saying? So, basically, posterity and preservation is an important thing with gaming these days. All right. In regards to PC gaming, it's getting even worse because what's happened is a lot of PC games no longer run on modern setups, or a lot of older PC games had bizarre kinds of copy protection that you couldn't bypass. So there's games right now that were made like the 2000s that you can't even play at all because there's no way to actually get past the screen that protects it from piracy. Like, what would happen there? You know, that sucks. So what GOG is doing, they are doing a special initiative called the GOG Preservation Program. This is going to be a way where they're going to take classic games and they're going to basically kind of update them. They're not remastering them. It's not like, oh, the visuals are better, the game is improved. It's just these games now are being tweaked so you can actually run them on a modern PC. So that's pretty cool. And actually, they already have a listing of something like 100 games. Take a look. Theme Hospital, Dungeon Keeper 2, Empire Earth, Heroes of Might and Magic 3. I mean, these are games that were absolute classics when they were out ages ago, but then there hasn't been a SWAT. I remember all the SWAT series, the SWAT games. I think I played one of them. I think it was SWAT 2. I can't remember which one it was. Classic Diablo, right? These games that you can't access because they've been all effed up. So now you can get them on GOG, and they have everything enabled. They work fine. No more of this baloney stuff where, oh, the game has copy protection or the game's not compatible with your current PC and stuff like that. It's going to be a good thing for gaming, I feel. And if preservation stories, here's some of the games right here. The Resident Evil bundle, all the classic Resident Evils that play like the PS1 editions, but now can be played on PC, right? One of my biggest gripes is like old console games like PS1. Most of those games aren't even accessible anymore. Like, there's no way to play them. It sucks. So I hope that a lot of these classic games will make it into this listing. So it's something to keep an eye on. They just launched this initiative. It's 100 games to start, and they're saying that they're going to be adding more games over time. If you're a PC gamer, this is probably something that should interest you, especially if it's something that you've done for a while, you know, and now, oh man, I missed these old games. Look, System Shock 2, they got listed there. I didn't even see that one before. So that's good stuff, okay? Excellent. Okay. Shout out to Rare Tricks. Rare Tricks just gifted a sub over on Kick. It went to Doodle Bear. Congrats, Doodle Bear, and thank you, Rare Tricks, for your support this morning. With that gifted sub, we're up to $55 of support on today's stream. Thank you so very, very much. Appreciate that a lot. Okay. Our next story. Hold on. I keep screwing up. Here it is. Our next story this morning is in regards to Naughty Dog. In an interview with Ken Levin, Neil Druckmann, as we know, he is the head of Naughty Dog now, said that there are some updates regarding a new Naughty Dog game that's coming out next. It's been in development since 2020. Sony's going to announce it whenever they see fit. Basically, you know, they're ready to announce it and talk about it, but it's Sony's choice. He is the director of the game. Sony is not interfering with the work whatsoever. They're allowing him to have free creative reign of the game. He's looking forward to revealing it to the world again when Sony's ready. And formerly, it was said that the game is likely a new IP. This is not going to be The Last of Us 3, but something different that I guess no one's really expecting. Okay? So here's the thing. If you like Naughty Dog and you like Neil Druckmann and what he's done with this game studio in the last 5+ years, this is probably great news, right? However, I would like to direct your attention to the comments on this post from this morning. I swear to you, I don't edit anything here on the show. Just take a look at the first comments. If he's the director of the new IP, I think I'll pass. I enjoy Druckmann's games, but I just much rather see someone else, see, another talent at Naughty Dog taking charge as well. I mean, it's true. Druckmann has directed everything that they've been doing recently. So it's kind of like his studio. What about other people? When do they get a shot? You know, sometimes having other creative voices make products feel a little different rather than just more of the same. So maybe that's a good point. Glad to hear that they don't intervene. Artists should be left to honing their craft. Give us another 10 out of 10, Neil. So we do have some fans of Neil Druckmann here. I'm not interested. I bet it will be diverse and inclusive. It's going to suck. It'll be gay and pretentious. Thank God at least it's a new IP. I'm skeptical with him in charge, but a new IP is good. Pretty sure it confirms it will definitely be the new IP if it was in development since 2020. Now, here's an interesting one. I was actually waiting for a comment like this. Ready? After the whole Factions 2 catastrophe, wouldn't you think it'd be a bit eager to show people what they're working on? It's got to be in some kind of showable shape if they've been working on it for 4 years plus. So if you don't know what they're talking about, when The Last of Us 2 was releasing, it was supposed to have a multiplayer mode. It was actually originally advertised and sold as a game that had a multiplayer mode, just like The Last of Us 1 had a multiplayer mode. Okay? During development, while people already had pre-ordered the game essentially and were already sold on buying The Last of Us 2, Neil Druckmann came out and announced, oh, we're not going to be doing that anymore. We've decided that the multiplayer mode has become so hefty, so substantial. We're putting so much time, effort, and work into it that we're splitting it off from The Last of Us 2, and we're going to sell it as a separate game. Now, I know that originally we promised you that Last of Us 2 was going to have this multiplayer mode, but hopefully you understand we want this to be the best product possible, and that's just not possible as part of Last of Us 2. Please buy Factions 2 when it releases as its own individual game later down the road. And the fans of Naughty Dog 100% gave Neil Druckmann the benefit of the doubt. They said, you know what? This guy's put out good games before. We trust him. If he says this, he must be telling the truth. We see no issue with this. Yes, we will pay money for a full-fledged multiplayer game because we liked the multiplayer so much in Last of Us 1 and we're craving more. Let's have him work on that separate, and let's just have Last of Us 2 come out and be its own game, like a narrative single-player game. So some people saw it as a bait and switch. I sure did. Because, again, Last of Us 2 had been advertised as a game that was going to get multiplayer, and then they decided last minute to not have it, which is kind of bullshit. But we're like, all right, so let's see what happens with this Factions 2 game. Well, what happened was they developed it for 2 more years, and then they canceled it. They just canceled the whole project. So then Neil came out and said, well, we hope you understand. We had never done a full-fledged multiplayer game before, and even though we put a lot of time and effort into it, it just wasn't up to our standards, so we decided to can it and work on what we do best. And it's like, wait a minute. You promised this game as part of The Last of Us 2. When we bought The Last of Us 2, it was supposed to be a single-player game with multiplayer just like the first one. Then you sold us the lie that you were going to make the multiplayer better and its own separate game, and we bought the lie. We said, all right, benefit of the doubt. Now you're screwing us. We paid for Last of Us 2 and only got the narrative. We didn't get the multiplayer. And now you're not ever going to give us the multiplayer. We were even willing to pay for it. And you're still not going to give it to us? No. So he lied, essentially. What it is I feel he thought the meat of Last of Us 2 was going to be his narrative. That's what it was. It wasn't really based on the gameplay elements. It wasn't based on the sound design. It wasn't based on the locations or the environments. It was based on his narrative. That's what he thought was the most important part. What is there not any of in a multiplayer game? Narrative. So because there was no narrative involved with Factions 2, he didn't give a fuck about it. He had people work on it, and after a while, he realized, man, it's going to be too expensive. It's going to be too much of a work and undertaking, and I want to get back to making my narrative again. So we have to get back to that, so fuck this game, and he canceled it. Do you really think that the game devs working on the game wanted to see all their hard work get canceled and just thrown away? Of course not. They want their game to come out. But that's Neil Druckmann. He's an egomaniac. He controls his studio based on his own desires and whims, and because his games have sold, he gets to do that. Sony plays hands off. Hey, if his games sell, we don't give a shit. So he's over there throwing his power around, making his employees likely feel like shit, because they just made a game that probably was playable fine, and he's like, wait, there's no narrative in this. Fuck this game. Shit canning. Well, fuck you, Neil. How about you make good games first and worry about your pushing your narrative second? So, quite frankly, I don't really like the guy. I think you guys know this. Ever since Last of Us 2, this guy's true colors were shown with the way he behaved around that game and everything. Just absolutely despicable. And it just continues to this day, right? So when you say to me, oh, look at this. He's the director. I was hoping it would be someone else. Nothing against him after part 2 and focusing on Last of Us show. Oh, the TV show. I would hope he wouldn't be the director of the next game. Exactly. So what's basically happened is now people know that Naughty Dog is actually Neil Druckmann Studios. Like, they should just call it that. They should actually rename it Neil Druckmann Studios, because that's all it is. He's taken a studio that used to be around franchises, right? I mean, take a look at the poster here. Nathan Drake, Ellie and Joel, Crash Bandicoot, Jack and Daxter. Now you could just delete this picture and just put a face of Druckmann there, and that's Naughty Dog now. Whatever Druckmann says goes. Druckmann is in charge. Druckmann's narrative, Druckmann's initiative, Druckmann. Let me give you guys a news flash, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, no one likes Neil Druckmann. Even Hollywood. He made the Last of Us TV show, and then he went to Hollywood. And he thought, oh, I'm going to be like lauded and applauded, and I'm going to be invited to direct all these new projects. And that never happened. He literally went to one of these media events, stood on the red carpet. No one took his picture because no one knew who the fuck he was, and nobody gave a shit. Neil Druckmann is a wannabe. He wants to be a ultra leftist liberal Hollywood guy, but no one likes him. So what's funny is he gets over making these games, but no one gives a fuck about him in the big scheme of things. Only his most big fanboys of his games. That's about it. And now he has an entire studio that he's basically controlling. And now a studio that used to make this amount. You want to talk about real diversity, right? Here's your diversity: an action platformer, a horror game, a platformer, an action platformer. They were making diverse, interesting games. Now what do they make? We don't even know. We literally don't even know what the next game is. Because he ruined his fucking studio because he's an egomaniac. Before Naughty Dog was in control of Druckmann, it was a much better studio that made much better, more diverse games. Now it's all about whatever Druckmann wants, he gets. It's disgusting. It really is. Sony shouldn't give him free reign to do whatever he wants. They should be paying attention to this guy. Because what is this next game that he's making exactly? Is it anything anyone's going to want? Or is it another narrative-based, push-it-down-your-throat bullshit game? And that, he'll polarize the audience again with his rhetoric, and then he'll get people rallying behind it and buying it for the feel-goods instead of actually, because it's good. Which is a shame, because we know Naughty Dog can make good games. They've made many good games before, but Neil won't let them. Neil instead makes it all about himself and his cringy fucking politics and shit instead of making good video games. Last of Us 2 is a fine game. Why did we have to hear so much bullshit about politics when it came out? Because Neil had to make the whole game about that. It's his fault. No one else. He was the director. He was the one who created all the media frenzy on social media about it and everything. A buy of Last of Us 2 is sticking it to the bigoted trolls. It's fucking stupid. So yeah, I'll be honest. I don't like this guy. I just don't. I think that he's an asshole. I think that he needs to prove that he can make good games again. And he hasn't done that in a very long time. When this new IP comes out, I'm very interested. What is it? What kind of game is it? It better not be another third-person action game that plays just like Uncharted or just like Last of Us, and then he just shoves his fucking politics into it. It better be a good game. Because at this point, I think the veil is being removed, and people are realizing he ain't God's gift to gaming, right? He made this fucking TV show, and it was cringe half the time, because the themes were changed. The game, there weren't even fucking zombies in a zombie TV show. Like, what the hell was he thinking? So, let's see what happens, all right? I mean, I want Naughty Dog to come back. I don't want Naughty Dog to go into obscurity because this one asshole is at the helm. But at this rate, especially with the way things are going, because let's be honest, as I said, in culture and in life, the pendulum swings, correct? At one point, the pendulum was all the way over here. But guess what? We just had an election. And now the pendulum is swinging all the way back. No one's going to buy his bullshit narrative again. So he's better make a good fucking game this time. Or he's fucked. And then so will Naughty Dog be. And that's not right. Because those game developers are good at what they do. And they shouldn't be dragged down into the mud with this asshole. Okay. That's my opinion. Let's continue, folks. We have many stories to cover today. The fuck is this? This is funny. Our next story concerns Bethesda workers going on strike because of Ghost Versatile and Delicious Whey Protein. Oh, shit. Got distracted by an ad. Sorry. No. Bethesda workers go on strike against Microsoft. After failing to reach a new deal with Microsoft, Bethesda's QA workers are staging a brief strike and demanding better terms. This is interesting because they just formed a union over there. It's like they just formed the union. And now that the union is formed, they're immediately taking advantage of it and going on a strike. So let's read this. Last year, quality assurance workers at Bethesda and ZeniMax Studios formed ZeniMax Workers United, the largest certified video game union in the United States. Now that union is putting its collective power to a test with a brief strike against Bethesda and ZeniMax's parent company, Microsoft. They've been attempting to negotiate a deal with Microsoft over remote work requirements, while also limiting the number of outsourced QA workers who could be brought in on Bethesda's projects. The union didn't say who Microsoft is outsourcing QA work to, but it accused the company of ignoring requests to negotiate. They've continually given us the first proposal again and again. It's become obvious our different mobilization tactics have not worked. QA test lead Rihanna Eichner. Wow, that's a hard last name to pronounce. Eichnersid. I feel bad for her. Eichnersid. So, the one-day strike was called in an attempt to make Microsoft more receptive to addressing the union's concerns. Striking isn't fun or ideal, but there's a satisfaction in having a concrete physical action we can do to fight for better work conditions. Hopefully we can convince them to stop dragging their feet and meet us at the table. So, here we go. Many of the QA testers were hired during COVID, when remote work was more prevalent. Microsoft current requirements call for QA workers to be in the office 2 days a week. The union is asking for a more flexible remote policy. Okay. First off, I want to make it clear that I do stand for workers' rights, okay? I feel that workers, particularly in the United States, have been mistreated many, many times by big corporations. And I think that if there's a chance that workers can get more rights or get treated more fairly, I'm 100% for it, okay? But now that I'm reading this article, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I didn't read the article before today. I wanted to read it live and give you my honest thoughts. I have a question. They only work in the office 2 days a week, and they think that's too much. Wait, what? They only have to work 2 days a week in their office, and they're complaining that that's too much. They need more time for remote work. Really? The other thing that I'm finding very funny about this is they said they're going to go on a one-day strike, okay? I don't think they understand the concept of a strike. Just so you guys know, the way a strike works is they say, hey, we refuse to work unless you give in to our demands, all right? They're trying to get more, fair working conditions or better pay or whatever it is. Sometimes there's a contract that's being negotiated. If you say, we're going on strike, but it's only for 1 day, then that's not effective because they already know, your company already knows you're going to be back the next day. Okay, we're going to miss 1 day of work. Big deal. Is that really that big of a deal? No. A strike only works if you actually say we refuse to report to work until you give us what we want. And the thing is, that's a sacrifice because when people are on strike, they're usually not getting paid. So they're giving up pay in order to hopefully improve their situation long term as they continue to work at the company after the strike's over. 1 day makes no sense at all. It's literally going to be the most ineffective strike ever held. You're not supposed to give them the dates and times you're on strike. You're supposed to say, we're on strike until we get better shit. It's bizarre. Like, after the strike began, Microsoft issued a statement affirming the company's willingness to listen and address their concerns. So did they give in? Let's take a look at some of these wonderful people on strike. Let's go back to the article. I don't have to say a word. I don't have to say a single word. All I had to do was click on the pictures. Anyway, so I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. I'll be honest. If they were fighting for better pay, if they were fighting for like, oh, we all got laid off and that's not fair. No, they're fighting for, we only work in the office 2 days a week, and that's too much for us. We need more time away. Now, perhaps the outsourcing is a problem, all right? But look, the union didn't say who Microsoft is outsourcing QA work to, but it accused the company of ignoring requests to negotiate. Negotiate what? You don't have the evidence of anything. They're complaining about outsourcing, but then they say they won't talk about the outsourcing. So do you have evidence that they're outsourcing work and your workers are losing their jobs? What are you talking about? Can you explain? No. I at first thought, when I covered this story, I was going to be like 100% on the side of the workers. But now that I read the story, I'm just like shaking my head like, what the fuck did they think they're doing? It's just going to be the most ineffective thing ever done in the attempt to improve working conditions. A one-day scheduled strike where they're going to get right back to work, complaining they're only working 2 days a week in the office, and that's too many, and then complaining about outsourcing, but they don't have any evidence that it's existing. The one thing I will say, okay, I have heard that QA in gaming is an unforgiving job and really doesn't get a lot of credit or a lot of pay. I've actually heard that these people don't make that much. Now, I actually don't know. I've never been into QA, but I was told, years ago when I started on YouTube, right? People were like, Phil, you always find all the bugs in games. Why don't you become a QA tester? And I looked into it and I was like, yeah, QA testers get paid like minimum wage and they have shitty hours. And so you're not even guaranteed that you're going to have work at any given moment. And it's very unforgiving work where you're just painstakingly replaying the same stages 5 zillion times looking for bugs and issues. You're trying to purposefully break a game to find what would break it. And it's not very fun, right? Like when I find a game bug, it's usually I'm playing a game and something hilarious happens that's obviously unintentional or unexpected. To them, they have to find these things and that's their whole existence. That doesn't sound fun to me, It's not, people think of it, oh, QA testers, that's like an amazing job. You get to sit there playing video games all day. You get to play new games early. I bet it sucks. I bet it really is like unforgiving, shitty-ass work. Very tedious and annoying work, I bet. So, Lady Charisma says, as someone who works remote for a company who used to demand we be in the office 3 days a week, it was found more work got done. I can't speak for all, but that's my experience. Lady Charisma, do you mean more work got done when you were in the office or more work got done when you were remote? Which are you arguing for? Because I don't have any evidence either way. I'm a neutral party here. I'm just trying to understand why people would be arguing against in-office performance when it's only 2 days a week. Remote. So you're saying better work got be done from home. I feel like in certain industries and certain kinds of work, probably the remote work does make more sense. Probably. And then some doesn't. I guess really what you'd have to have an evaluation of the work. Can we sit down and analyze how much work are they getting done at home versus how much work are they getting done in the office? If they're actually getting more work done at home, why wouldn't you want them to work from home, right? Automata says the push for workers to return to offices is to bolster the commercial real estate industry. It's a house of cards. I have heard that when COVID happened, a lot of offices closed. A lot of commercial real estate basically failed because no one needed it anymore. And now what's happened is they want the industry to come back. So they're just saying, you got to get back to the office. It's like, yeah, but for what? I'm doing all my work from home. I'm completing all my work. Why do I need to be in the office? Too bad. Just come to the office. So you can't even justify it. You just want me there physically as a body. You can't even tell me why. The argument used to be that when you have people working remotely from home, there's no supervision. So these people could be goofing around half the day and actually could have been producing twice as much work, but you just don't know, because there's no one watching them. If they're in the office, you can supervise them, make sure they're doing their jobs, you know what I'm saying? So maybe that's the argument, but do they have any evidence to back that up? It'd be like the movie Office Space, right? Where people are just fucking around half the day on purpose because they just don't give a shit about their jobs. They're just, disgruntled management and everything. They just don't care. So they're just basically like, hey, do the bare minimum. Who knows? But the thing is, we don't have the data. Like, the one piece of data that would have been interesting in that story is, hey, here's the statistics of how Microsoft has outsourced half of the QA team, and that's what they're upset about. When they were asked for the data about outsourcing, they said, we can't comment. We have nothing. So what are you talking about? Are you making stuff up? Or are you just guessing? Like, that's not very effective to protest against with a strike then, is it? Right? Lady Charisma says most companies make you install a watchdog program when you do remote work. So that way they're watching, making sure that you're doing your job. Interesting. Okay. Continuing on, we have many more stories to cover, folks. Our next story involves the Game Awards. So, the Game Awards are about to announce their Game of the Year nominees and other nominees as well this coming Monday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time. So that means the nominees will be out and we'll be able to talk about them on Monday's Level 1 podcast, okay? Now, FYI, the Game Awards only covers games up to a certain point. So sadly, I hate to say it, how can they announce nominees when games such as Microsoft Flight Simulator, Stalker 2, Marvel Rivals, Indiana Jones, and more have not released yet this year? How do you know if they're good? How do you know if they could be Game of the Year contenders? The answer is, you don't. And it's basically a broken system. This has been something that I've been criticizing the Game Awards for many years. They close off their nominations before the end of the year. And they do it on purpose because they did research and found out that award shows like this will perform best during this particular season because of the holidays and ad revenue. This show is more profitable doing it that first week of December than it would be. Actually, it's the second week of December this year. Than it would be if they delayed it till January, and then they could include all of the games that actually came out in 2024. Now, the problem is the way that Jeff Keighley spins this. He says, oh, well, don't worry. Any games that come out after our nominations cut off can be eligible for next year. The problem is there's not been a single instance where a game that came out at the end of the year ever was considered or in contention for a Game Award. They always get forgotten. And that's bullshit. There are games that might be good coming out in the next month, and they deserve to be qualified for these awards like any other game. I don't get why they keep doing that. It's stupid. It's just, you will not remember a game from December of this year in November of next year. You won't even be thinking about it. It has to be within the last year for you to think about it and have it be considered for a Game Award. And he doesn't do that because he's greedy. It sucks because I think Jeff Keighley's a good guy. I do think that his mind's in the right spot. I do feel like he cares about the games industry. For sure. Okay? But I'm really sad that in this case, he does the wrong thing every year to get a bigger paycheck. Because that's the only reason he does it like this. If it was January, February, he'd have way less ads. He'd make way less money doing the show. Now it's in December, the holiday season. He can get tons of money for it. But then the awards essentially are not valid. But the problem is people think they are. And every year you hear, oh, did you hear what won Game of the Year? Did you hear what won Game of the Year? Yeah, but it doesn't matter. The awards aren't official. This is not like, oh, the Oscars. This is what he wants it to be. He wants it to be the Oscars for games. But it's really not that at all. Who does he have vote on the games? Games journalists and insiders. Essentially, no normal gamers. People who are in a different part of the industry that don't have the same interests that we do because they don't actually pay for video games. So because they don't pay, they don't have the same vested interest in money spent, money wasted. They vote for different reasons. They like games for different reasons than we do because they're not real gamers. So the awards are pretty invalid. That's why you always kind of see a misalignment in games that win. I mean, shit, one year, I think like you had a game, wasn't it, what was the year that this fighting game won? Everyone laughed at it and they were like, it's not even really a fighting game. I can't remember. But it just didn't make any sense. Some of the nominees always are weird. And it's because it's game journalists doing it, not fucking gamers. You don't even understand what a game is. They'll misclassify a game in the wrong genre. So stupid. So anyway, it is what it is. The Game Awards are coming up. I know you guys are going to want to have me talk about it. So that's going to be a topic that we'll be discussing soon. Next Monday when the nominees come out. Okay? By the way, I just want to apologize to Spawn Killer. Spawn Killer did a super chat, and I missed it. It was a $2 super chat, and he says, would you go back to System Shock eventually? Yes, I would. I really was enjoying System Shock back in August. It was one of the first games I played on this gaming PC. And then we just got wrapped up with the new releases because it wasn't a new release. It was just an older remake that I was playing. Eventually, we might get back to it. We'll have to see. But I was really liking the art style and everything of it. I thought that it was a really outstanding game. Thank you, Spawn Killer, for that. And I apologize I didn't shout you out earlier. I feel bad. Sorry about that. Okay. Yes, I do look down on the man who chooses money over integrity, considering the fact that pretty much that's the opposite of what I've done the entire run that I've been a YouTuber. I've always taken the integrity versus money. There have been many times over the years that I could have sold out, used all the same underhanded, dirty tactics, taken the paycheck, taken the sponsorship, kissed ass, stroked dick, fluffed up the right people so I could be in their good graces. Instead, I've done exactly the opposite of that. Every time that I've seen those opportunities, I've shunned them. I said, absolutely not. I've, have nothing to do with that kind of behavior. And that's one of the reasons why I am where I am is, I could have been a bigger guy. I could have been a guy like a Rad Brad or something like that. But I never played the game. I refused to play the game. Instead, I wanted to be my own guy. And that way I could basically sleep well at night, knowing that the content that I was putting out was original, fun, and genuine. Wasn't me simply saying or doing something because I was receiving monetary compensation for it, but instead it was because I actually cared about the content I was putting out. I never wanted to lie to the viewers about my feelings about a particular game, and I feel like I've done that. I feel like over the years, I think people know that when you see me playing games in the light, that it's genuine. I'm never shilling. I'm never lying about my opinions. That's why you hear me say opinions about games you don't hear other gamers say. Like when I say rollback netcode is not very good for fighting games, and the whole FGC can't stop kissing the ass of people who put rollback netcode into their games. There's a good reason for that. It's because I'm honest and they just want to get attention for themselves to make money. And I think it's pretty underhanded, but that's how the industry is. That's how it's always been. People take the bag over being honest. And so when I see Jeff Keighley, a guy who I actually do feel is good for the industry and cares about gaming, taking the bag by running his Game Awards in early December, completely eliminating a month and a half to 2 months of valid games because he wants to make more money, I think that's pretty fucked up. There you go. Okay. Continuing on. We have a couple more stories. Hold on. Okay. What did I just click? Okay, I thought I fucked up. Okay, so our next story, folks. This is a weird one. This is one that admittedly I'm confused and scratching my head about. Okay. Microsoft and Xbox particularly has launched a new ad campaign this morning that is baffling at least me and baffling a lot of gamers online as well. It is called This is an Xbox from Craig McNary, the Senior Director of Xbox Marketing. Now, folks, I hate to say it, I've been criticizing Xbox a lot this year, and I do feel like one of their biggest problems is their marketing. They are not marketing themselves well at all, and because of that, they have completely lost their foothold in the industry, right? What games do you know of Xbox that have come out that have been good, that have been marketed well and you want to play? What about their console? Have you heard anything even about the Xbox Series S or X this year that makes you want to buy one? What about Game Pass? Have you heard anything about that recently that makes you want to get it? I don't remember, right? This year, I think it's been a pretty bad year for Xbox. I've just heard negatives about Microsoft and Xbox in general pretty much all year long. Oh, they're laying off this studio. They're canceling this project. They're fucking up here and there and everywhere, right? White Mojo Wolf says they make the best 7 out of 10 games. There you go. So this is their Senior Director of Marketing, Craig McNary, all right? This is his new marketing campaign. I shit you not. I didn't make this article up. He wrote this and put it up on the website. Here it is. At Xbox, we're building a future defined by player choice where people can play their favorite games, discover new adventures, and connect with friends wherever and however they love to play. We also believe gaming should be easy to access and available for everyone, whether you have an Xbox console, playing on PC, Samsung Smart TVs, handhelds, mobile phones, Amazon Fire TV, or a MetaQuest headset. With Game Pass Ultimate, you can play with Xbox. In fact, you're probably reading this on an Xbox-enabled device. I'm on a PC, and that's true. I have Game Pass. That can be powered on with the help of cloud gaming or the Xbox app for PC. That's the inspiration for our new This Is an Xbox campaign. This Is an Xbox invites people to play with Xbox across multiple devices and screens. It showcases the evolution of Xbox as a platform that extends across devices with bold, iconic, fun visuals and a lighthearted tone. Launching today, the campaign will come to life in a variety of ways. So, here is their new marketing. This is an Xbox, and it shows an Xbox Series X. This is an Xbox for your lap, and it shows a laptop. This is an Xbox that tags along, and I believe that is, what is that called? It's one of the handheld devices. I don't know if that's the Steam, or the ROG Ally. I don't know which one that is. It's one of the handheld devices, correct? This is a cat box. How clever. Yes, I'm aware. There's a cat coming out of it. It must be a cat box, right? Wow. This is an Xbox that goes on the wall, and it shows a smart TV. This is an Xbox that makes calls, and it shows a smartphone. This is a bento box. This is an Xbox on the inside, and for those who don't know, that is the remote for the Amazon Fire TV, and that is the actual Amazon Fire stick that you plug into your TV. This is an Xbox that you wear, and then it shows a VR headset. This is still an Xbox, and it shows the Xbox Series S. This is an immersive takeover. Oh, I'm immersed. I am very immersed. When you showed me that cat box and the bento box, I became incredibly immersed. Immersed in what? Maybe gasoline, because I probably got a match I'm about to light. But, wow, let's continue. To truly understand what an Xbox is, it's equally important to understand what is not an Xbox. So to bring this to life, we've had some fun and labeled This Is Not an Xbox on non-Xboxes in unexpected places, while also featuring our This Is an Xbox campaign visuals across San Francisco, Atlanta, Chicago, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, London, New York, and Berlin to highlight all the devices are part of Xbox. So what they have done, they've actually gone throughout these major cities of the world and put up posters such as, this is a cat box, and this is a bento box. This is a partnership. To further extend This Is an Xbox, we partnered with several brands, including Samsung, Crocs, Porsche, and the Happy Egg Company in the UK to help bring the campaign to life in unexpected and entertaining ways. This is a pair of Xbox. You got the console and then the portable device. This is an eggs box, and it shows a carton of eggs. Then they show an ad on a building somewhere. Oh, hold on. They have gear. Oh, I need to jump on this right away. I need to unload my wallet, right? Definitely for this campaign. Just look at this. Who wouldn't want a t-shirt that says, this is not an Xbox, right? I mean, you know what? I need to get a shirt that I can wear that says, this is not an Xbox. Because you guys need to know that I am not an Xbox. Because God forbid someone could get confused and think that I am an Xbox. And we got to make sure that that confusion is cleared up. And we need to spend money to do that. I need to buy this shirt. How much do you want to bet this shirt is probably like $35, right? They have hoodies. Oh, that's got to be like a $60 hoodie right there, $70. But this is not an Xbox hoodie. I got to get on this, man. I mean, come on. With a show-stopping library of iconic franchises and upcoming games, including Call of Duty Black Ops 6. That's on everything. That's not an Xbox exclusive. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Well, technically, that's Xbox PC exclusive, correct? That's not on Sony. And same thing with Microsoft Flight Simulator, right? I love how they had to wedge in Call of Duty, which has nothing to do with being an Xbox exclusive because it's cross-platform. I mean, they had the chance to make it exclusive. They did, but they chose not to, right? So, I mean, so let's scroll back. Wait a minute. What the fuck? Look at this. This is, I'm not kidding you, Craig McNary. All right? Craig McNary. Hold on. Here he is. He's on LinkedIn. Oh, I gotta sign in. Well, I don't want to sign in. I wanted to see his history. Like, I wanted to see his employment history, and I wanted to see where he went to school. But you can't see that unless you make an account, which is real shit, right? What about Craig McNary, alma mater? International Academy, what? I want to know where he went to school. That's all I want to know. And you can't apparently find it out unless you get to fucking you make an account at LinkedIn. That sucks. That's really stupid. What if I click on this? Now it just shows his posts. Oh, that stinks. Well, the reason I asked is because I just wanted to see. I guarantee you, this man probably went the toppest of the top. Oh, you found it? University of Washington, Masters of He has MBA at the University of Washington. Okay. But here's why I ask, all right? People like this guy, all right? This guy probably went to top schools, very expensive schools, okay? He's probably been affluent most of his life, if not his whole life. Probably born with a silver spoon in his mouth. And went to the best schools, high-end, gets a high-end job, the head of marketing for Xbox. Okay? His campaign is literally, hey, you can go and you can play Xbox on anything. So basically what you're telling me, number one, is that Microsoft has completely given up on any efforts to actually, like, sell a console. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about the Series X or S anymore. They've given up. They've thrown in the towel. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, that's sad. Because they were a big competitor with the original Xbox, the Xbox 360, the Xbox One, and now the Series S and X. In fact, this console gen, the Series S and X, are fabulous game consoles. You know, the only drawback, right, is that the S cannot do anything better than like 1080p, like it's not meant to. But it can play 1080p games fine. The X can go a little better. It can do some 4K. It can do some, you know, higher frame rates. They're great consoles. I would argue the Series X is on pace or on par with the baseline PS5. They are definitely competitors. The problem is the marketing didn't align the console to be a competitor. When did you hear the marketing about how Series X should be in line with PlayStation 5 and you should buy one today? Right? Did you hear that? I mean, I've told you that from trying it and playing it. I told you it's pretty much on par. It's the same graphics. It's got the same games, right? People have asked me, this console gen, which do you prefer? I don't really. They're both good. So why doesn't Microsoft act like that, right? Instead, they've literally given up. They're saying, what we want to do is we want to push Game Pass now. Like, Game Pass is the future, and we don't care how you play games. We don't care if it's on the Series X, a laptop, a handheld device that we didn't make, a smart TV we didn't make, a phone we didn't make, the freaking, you know, Fire Stick that we didn't make. That's all good. As long as you're playing our games, we're happy. And I understand that. Like, I know that Game Pass, if more people subscribe to Game Pass, they would become more profitable. But it's like they lost the script somewhere. Like, you are supposed to be a console maker and competitor. That's what an Xbox is. So what they're doing with this campaign, they're essentially saying Xbox is no longer a game console. Xbox is a concept of just playing games, and anything you can play, any game related to Microsoft on, is an Xbox. Well, that's great, but then why do we need an Xbox console? You've literally, in your own ad campaign, said that your consoles are obsolete and not needed, because I can buy any of these other devices that would serve other purposes. Like a laptop, sure, I could play games on it, but I could also do schoolwork on it. I could do work for my job on it. I could do online shopping. I could pay my bills on it, taxes. I could do a million things with a laptop. So if I could play Xbox games on the laptop and get other use out of it, I'm going to buy the laptop, right? Hey, look, here's a portable Xbox, because you can't do this with your Series X, so I'll just get this. Wait, I can play your games on my phone? Why the hell do I ever need this? Their marketing campaign is self-defeating. And this guy probably went to Ivy League schools or top schools, top dollar, super expensive, rich guy, best education money can buy. He came up with, hey, fuck it. Forget the consoles. We're losers in that regard. So let's change our entire face of our marketing because we give up. Wave the white flag, because there's no way we can ever sell our console because we're a bunch of losers. It's such a defeatist mentality. It's just like Phil Spencer coming out and saying, oh, you know, the reason that everything's going bad is because gaming's in a slump right now, right? Gaming is really bad. We can't sell games because, you know, the industry's on a downturn. No, it's not, Phil Spencer, at all. Games are selling like hotcakes. Tons of games this year were huge sellers. It's not yours. Literally every game but yours sold. Yours can't sell because you don't make good games. If you make good games, people would then buy them. And then people would say, hey, what's the console to play them on? The Xbox. But instead, you don't have any good games. So when you don't have any games, this is what you do. You cope. And this whole campaign is a cope mechanism saying, oh, eggs. Oh, look, a cat box. Oh, look, a bento bot. It's not funny. It's pathetic. It's embarrassing. This guy is the head of marketing. He's a clown. He's a literal clown. He thinks this is a good ad campaign for the company. This ad campaign literally hurts the company and its image in every way, shape, and form. He wants you to go out and buy a competitor's device to play their games on. Don't buy ours. We give up. Just play our games on other devices. Well, what games? You haven't explained what games yet. And you scroll to the bottom, Call of Duty. That's on everything. That's even on Sony. That's on your competitor. What are you talking about? But again, this guy probably thinks this is the most clever idea ever. What a memester I am. What a memester Xbox is. We're the master of internet memes. Everyone's going to be wearing these shirts. Everyone's going to be holding their eggs and saying, this is an eggs box. No, no one's going to do this. You are completely out of fucking touch with reality. Craig McNary, you are bad at your job. No one is going to get Game Pass or buy an Xbox game or do anything to benefit your company because this is the ad campaign you created, a defeatist mentality that makes you look like a loser. It looks like you have a limp dick. No one wants to give you money if your dick is limp. What is wrong with you? And this is who's in charge of their marketing. Good Lord. And I'm just a normal dude. I can say this. What the fuck? Where did the years of education and money go? Where did this guy get all of this from? Like, what is happening? Why do you think, seriously, why do you think the games industry is in a slump? It's not because games are bad. It's not because times are tough. It's because these are the clowns in charge. The clown show continues at Xbox. They've got some of the worst leadership. The head of marketing thinks this is their best marketing campaign they've ever come up with. It's literally their worst. You remember those gross out ads of the 1990s? You'd be reading like a game magazine and it would be like a giant jar full of toenail clippings. And they'd be like, oh, this will sell a game console. I think it actually would more than this. Like that would actually sell hardware or a game better than this. Literally, what on earth, when you're looking at this, where here do you see yourself spending $1 on anything Xbox? How does this convince you to spend $1? If anything, maybe you get hungry because you saw the bento box, or maybe you think you want to go pet a cute kitty. I don't want to buy any games or spend any money with this ad campaign at all. That's the whole point of marketing, to make people want to spend money on your product and business. This guy is the head of marketing at Xbox. He doesn't even understand what the point of the marketing is. I've had 2 classes about marketing in college, and I think I learned more about marketing in the 2 classes I took than this guy did, and he's the head of marketing at Microsoft. Hey, Mr. Spencer, can you give me a call? Within 10 minutes, I will come up with a better ad campaign than this entire multi-million-dollar thing you're working on right now. I will give you a better ad campaign. I swear to God. I will at least sell 1 gamer console with my campaign. I swear I can do better than this clown. This is ridiculous. Why are you failing? Because you have horrible people working for you who don't know what the fuck they're doing. Holy fucking shit. Well, folks, we do have one more piece of stuff to talk about in the game news section. Avowed has its final trailer. All right? Avowed has its final trailer. It just got released this morning. They're calling it the pre-order trailer. And it has dumped, basically, the release date of the game in it. And has shown off some gameplay mechanics and graphics. Allow us to watch this together. This will be the end of the show. Let's watch the Avowed pre-order trailer. Here we go. Ready? In beautiful 4K resolution. No, it's 10. Here we go. In beautiful 4K resolution. Ready? Here we go. By the way, my stream isn't 4K. Okay.
You must be our Imperial envoy. Better late than never, I say.
I'm about ready to get started.
That's it. And then they go to their Xbox logo, see? So, that's Avowed. So, just watching that a little bit, I got a couple things to say. All right. Number one, it kind of looks like Skyrim, right? Doesn't it? It looks like maybe a little bit more of our cartoonish version of Skyrim. But, interestingly enough, it actually looks like it performs like Skyrim. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't look like a modern game, does it? That looks like a game that's like a console gen or 2 behind, or like 10 years outdated, but with like upscaled graphics. At least from what I saw there. Did you notice that the character models didn't even really sync with what they were saying? Like the woman was like, "I'm ready for action" or whatever. Her mouth was like, It's like, what happened there? And I'm curious why. That's bizarre to me. You would think that in regards to this game, they would want it to look modern. It doesn't. It kind of looks older, outdated to me. It was at 60 frames there. So that was 60 frames per second. So that's good. I wonder if it'll actually run higher than that. I think, honestly, the only thing that's holding it back is the graphics. The gameplay looked fine. Again, it kind of looks like Skyrim to me. And if it's another Skyrim, all these years later, I think I'm okay with that. I think we need another Skyrim because there's no Elder Scrolls game coming out anytime soon. We know this. We know that Bethesda has lost their way and they're not making good or many games anymore. They're kind of screwing up, and it looks like it's going to take them forever for the new Elder Scrolls to come out. So because of that, we kind of need a fantasy game like this, I feel. I think this might make sense. It's going to fill in a gap, a niche that's empty right now that we need something for, correct? But at the same time, I'll be honest, it didn't look great. It looks underwhelming when it comes to the graphics. And I think, sadly, what's going to happen is the game will come out, and a lot of people will be very skeptical about getting it because they're going to say the graphics don't look very good, right? It is made by Obsidian. Obsidian is the same studio that made Fallout New Vegas as well as The Outer Worlds. And they wanted to make an Elder Scrolls game. And they asked Bethesda. And Bethesda said, no, we're making it. They're like, are you sure? Because we can make one right now, and they wouldn't let them. It's just sad. It's freaking sad, man. And I don't know. I think Obsidian will do a good job, but it looks like maybe they didn't have the resources to make it as good as what people want in the modern day. Like I said, it definitely looks to me like it's outdated when it comes to how it's going to be presented graphically and everything. So like gameplay wise, it might be great. Story wise, it might be great. But if it doesn't look so good, a lot of people are going to complain about that, right? So anyway, Avowed, am I sold on it? Well, the thing is, it's on Game Pass. So I don't really have to be sold on it. I got Game Pass. I'm going to keep Game Pass. So when February 18th swings around, I'll be trying out Avowed and see if I like it or not. And I guess we judge then if that's something that we want to keep playing. So there you go. Solid release date, February 18th. Judge as you will. For me, I think the game will probably be good, but I think people will be misjudging it because of graphics, which is unfortunate. I wish that the game actually looked a little better there in its final form, but I guess it is what it is, right? Okay, so folks, that is all of the news. I had an insane amount of game news to cover today. I hope you guys liked it. A couple shout outs here. Rare Tricks re-upped their sub over on Kick. So thank you, Rare Tricks, for the re-upping of the sub. That means that we're up to $62 of support so far this morning. And then Spawn Killer did a $2 super chat. One game I wish that we got more information on was Fable. That is very, very true, right? It's very true. We haven't heard about Fable in a long time, right? We keep seeing trailers for it, but then no actual gameplay information or anything, right? Yeah. Is someone being an idiot over on Kick? Fine, I'll do this. I'll get rid of them so we don't have to listen to them whine. All right, go away. Okay. So, yeah. All right, so we got a few minutes left on the show, everybody. Just a few. If anyone would like to talk about something, please tag me in the chat. Or if you contribute, I'll give you a shout out. I want to say thanks for 64 bucks of support already this early. I appreciate that very much. Obviously, the goal is to continue the streak, right? Let's hit 65. Let's celebrate tonight on the politics show. Let's continue the streak, and then let's hit the goal tomorrow, and we can do the entire decades menu from Taco Bell tomorrow. And then I'm looking, of course, for what should the goal be for next week, right? Let's think about another one. Let's find another good one to do for the coming week. I'm sure there's going to be some food items and things that we could test out. If you guys can find some or you're interested in some, I'm down for it. Okay. All right, cool. So what do you guys want to talk about for the end of the show? Is there a chance to put both chats on stream to follow both conversations? What do you mean, Automata? Do you mean on your screen or my screen? If you mean your screen, you can literally do that right now. Just open both streams. And you can just have both chats popped out sitting next to each other, right? But if you mean on my screen, no, I don't want to put the chats on screen. It's too distracting. I'm not the kind of guy that wants you sitting there reading chat and stuff like that. I'd much rather have you focus on the content. Keep in mind that I am doing content for different audiences, that there is an on-demand audience that watches the content, and I make ad revenue, and they do come by and support the streams via that as well. So it's not about the chat at all times. I will interact with the chat, but I'm not going to override the content that I make just to have the chat on the screen. A lot of streamers have chat on the screen. I'm not going to criticize them. More power to them if they like that. I don't want that in my content. And let's be honest, if that were the case, if chat was on the screen, what would happen is nonstop, you'd have trolls coming in with accounts spamming to show up on the screen saying nasty stuff to try to ruin the on-demand experience. So it ain't worth it. Thoughts on the Indiana Jones game for December? I would say it looks solid, but I'm wondering if it's going to feel like Indiana Jones. Because Indiana Jones has a distinct feel. When you watch one of those movies, you feel like, oh, you're at home in the Indiana Jones universe. And I wonder if a game where you're playing as the character will feel the same as being along for the ride in a movie. I don't know. I think that's why people are so on the fence about it, because we never really had an Indiana Jones experience in a game in like 20 years. So to have one now out of nowhere is kind of, especially now because there's no movie or anything. The movie was last year, right? So why is it even coming out right now? Don't know. It's not even like timely. So I guess we'll see. I'm on the fence about it. Do I think this will be the end for Ubisoft if Assassin's Creed Shadows flops? I think they're going to have, if Assassin's Creed Shadows actually legit flops and does poorly, that would mean a series of failures for Ubisoft. They had, what was the one game that did well? They had one game that did well, but several that did bad. Like Skull and Bones flopped, Star Wars Outlaws flopped. They had one that did really well. What the hell was it? I can't remember now. But basically what would happen is, I think they would have to basically reassess their whole company and try to figure out how they're going to do stuff moving forward. You can't continue the same path of failure after failure after failure. I think that's actually why they delayed Shadows, because already there was all this bad feeling. The momentum had been killed for the company after Outlaws flopped, and they didn't want to have a flop after a flop like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I would think they would need to reassess and change things. Like, they couldn't continue on that way and have, they would have to readjust. So, I guess we'll see what happens, but it's not the end of their company, but certainly something's got to give. Something's got to change, right? Whether that's a shakeup in management, leadership, ownership, because there's been rumors about selling the company off and stuff like that. I don't know. But I think something would have to change, yes. Sounds good, Yeet Mania. Lady Christmas says most would make an indie game be like Uncharted. I like how Machine Games is handling it. That is true. They could have just slapped Indiana Jones into an Uncharted-like formula and called it a day, and it would have been a passable game, but instead they're trying something different, so I guess we'll see how it turns out. One Sick Puppy says, I think Uncharted took all the good Indiana Jones ideas, and it's leaving the actual Indiana Jones game with just crumbs to work with now. You could be right, but again, like Lady Christmas said, that's probably why they're going this different route and not making it a third-person action game, because people just accuse them of copying, right? Spawn Killer says, can we do something other than food as rewards? Sure. What would you like to do that's feasible? Because the things people have come up with don't work. Can you do an extra stream? When? I'm already streaming a massive amount, and the idea is to have me have more time with my family as a result of better support. So how could I stream more? Right? Can you play an extra game? What game? What are you talking about? How could we do that? When would we do it? The ideas that people have come up with just aren't viable. They're non-viable ideas, and that's why we haven't done anything else besides the food stuff, because the food stuff makes sense. It's something quick and easy that I can do on a stream. It fits in with the stream schedule. I just stay a tiny bit extra to do it. People like the fact that the series has been rejuvenated. DSP tries it, that is, because it was gone for a long time, and now it's back, and people are enjoying having it back. So, yeah. I can't do a merch giveaway because I don't own merch. I don't know what size you wear, and you'd have to give me your information, which would dox you. So I can't do a merch giveaway. A zombies night makes no sense. I mean, like I said, I already would like to do zombies, but how would I orchestrate a zombies night? Doesn't even make sense what you're saying. Like, what do you mean? Play zombies at night? I could just do that now. How is that a reward? Well, I bring back the suggestion box. Maybe at some point I will, yes. We have not done suggestion box in a while, and now that it's gone, perhaps it is time to maybe rejuvenate it, bring up a new one. People can start submitting again, and every once in a while we can pull from it. It's actually an interesting idea. Thomas says, zombies where the community has a chance to join and play with you. So let me get this straight. What you'd like me to do is raise goals all week long. 10 plus streams of hitting $150, and the reward that you would like to give me at the end of that, or you want me to give you at the end of that, is to play zombies with 3 people. The entire community contributes for me to keep hitting my goals, and then you want me to reward 3 people for that. Instead of doing something that everyone can benefit from, a video that we can all enjoy, a stream that we can all enjoy. Like, that, what you're saying doesn't make sense. Instead of rewarding everyone, reward 3 people specifically. That sounds like a sweepstakes. Does it not? That doesn't really sound good. Well, Adam is here early today and just did a 100 Australian dollar super chat. And with Adam's super chat, which is obviously ginormously supportive, that's going to massively propel us forward. That is the equivalent of $66. So if you add this together, we're already at $130 of support. Thank you so much, Adam, for the incredibly generous super chat. Thank you. That helps a lot. Wow, we are almost to our goal for the stream already. That's excellent. I've already explained why DSP tries it is a great reward for everyone. I'm not going to explain it every day because you're ignorant or just deaf. I'm not. It's ridiculous. So every day I got to justify the show that people like and are giving me new ideas for because they like it. How about stop complaining? No, really, stop fucking complaining about everything. Stop bitching. It doesn't make you look good to just sit around complaining constantly when things are going well. Why are you complaining? You should complain when things are going bad because you want them to improve. When things are going well, you shouldn't be sitting around whining and complaining. Am I still considering a lap desk? You know, I was, and I wanted to get one. I couldn't find a good one. It seems like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, lap desks were actually in style, and there were some companies that were making really high-end lap desks. So you could have a gaming keyboard and mouse, and they'd be very secure and snug in there. They had one that we would actually like snap in and everything, and it looked good. And I was like, man, I would definitely like to maybe do, you know, FPS games with it or something. I could play Call of Duty on it. And then they're all out of business. Like they basically not out of business, but they stopped making them. They basically stopped producing them for whatever reason. And now the lap desks that are out there are just kind of basic. They're not very good. So probably wouldn't work. You know, what's the point of a lap desk if your keyboard's zipping all over moving and your hand isn't in a good comfy spot? You know, I don't know. They had ones that looked like they would be perfect. That would sit like nicely on your lap and have like lock-in things so things don't fly off, and they don't make them anymore for some reason. If, for example, someone came up with a good product suggestion, I'm always open to it. If someone said, oh, here's a suggestion of a really good lap desk that I found that you might be interested in, maybe there's a new one coming out, I would definitely be open to that. So, you know, always send those suggestions my way. Again, anything to improve the business, I always consider, you know, and that's something definitely that maybe could help if I wanted to play on PC and not on the gamepad, right? Okay, guys, we went late. I didn't even realize we had so much news to talk about today. We actually went late. Let's end the show so we can jump into Veilguard. All right, continue on with the story of Veilguard, which was getting interesting. We were leveling and everything when we were playing it the other day. So hopefully you will join me for Veilguard here on the stream and not take off. I understand some people probably will take off because they're not interested in Veilguard, and that's totally cool. If you're not interested in Veilguard, you don't want to stick around. It's all good. I'll be doing the politics show tonight. We'll be doing a good variety of gameplay tomorrow, new games and stuff next week. It'll be a good time. All right? But thank you, everyone, for a very interesting and news-filled episode of the Level 1 podcast. I hope that you have enjoyed. I did. And I hope to see you tomorrow for my week-ending show. I cannot wait to recap how the politics show went on tomorrow's podcast. That's going to be very interesting. Talk about how it went, how many people showed up, and if people liked it or not. Should be cool. So thank you guys so very much. Appreciate ya. See you tomorrow.